Hello again, thanks for joining. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different than normal. I'm actually going to be painting these two little figures here. These are obviously 3D printed figures, you can see the supports there, and they've been resin printed as well. So I actually bought these, but I thought the ordering process was actually pretty good. These arrived fairly quickly and also very well packaged. These figures look fairly detailed for 00 scale, so we're going to paint them up and see how they turn out. It's been quite some time since I've done any figure painting actually, but in the past I have done quite a lot, especially the Games Workshop figures like this guy here, but not for quite some time, so it's going to be a bit of a relearning curve to paint these guys, and also obviously they're a lot smaller than the Space Marine there. So the first step here is to cut off these little supports. I'm just going to use a small pair of scissors for that. Just tidying up here with a little scalpel as well. Okay, that worked pretty well. They're both looking pretty good, and there's a lot of detail on these models. I'm really quite impressed. Okay, let's break open the paint. So I don't go for any particular brushes, but this one I just happen to have the Army Painter. I think these brushes are not too bad. And for paints, again, I've got a big selection of different paints, but I generally go for Vallejo. I usually find these not too bad. I'm going to use this one today, which is just matte white. I'm going to give them a bit of an undercoat to begin with. So while I'm doing this, I bet you're wondering why I've got these two particular guys. So while I find it actually quite good fun and therapeutic to do some modelling, I thought that it would be quite an interesting thing to have these guys as stand-in if I'm ever away from my channel. These two guys can fill in for me and do the videos. So of course they've got some names, and I'm currently painting Bob here.
Yes! Well, Bob, welcome on board.
No, not that kind of Bob, just Bob. And the other one is Jim. Now why Jim and Bob? So this is a bit of a joke where I come from, that if you don't know what somebody's name is, you call them Jimmy Bob. So it would go along the lines of, who was that guy again? I can't remember. Oh yeah, you know, Jimmy Bob. So calling these guys Jim and Bob is just a bit of a joke really. You can see this paint going on, not too bad, but it's not great. I think it might be quite old, this paint, so it's not going on brilliantly, but we'll see how we go. Okay, we're now on to doing Jim. All good so far, so I'm going to let that paint dry and we'll come back and do the next colour. So some time has passed now and that white is dried and I think it's ready for some colour. The first one we're going to do is this light flesh, again from Vallejo in the model colour range. So I always paint my figures from the inside out, so to speak. So it's always the flesh colour first and then the clothes afterwards. So we'll do it with this colour now. Okay, Jim's up first. So while that's drying, we can get on with maybe their trousers. So I'm going to give Jim a pair of jeans, and to do that I'm going to use this Games Workshop colour called Base Macragge Blue, which is like the ultramarine colour. So the blues work pretty well for the pair of jeans. It still needs a little bit of work, but we're going to leave that and go back to the skin colour because it's very pale and it looks like these two guys have been playing model trains indoors for far too long. So I'm going to try and get them a 2-week break in Spain, and to do that I'm going to use some of this Game Colour Smoky ink. It's another Vallejo colour, and I'm going to mix it with the original pale skin colour and just give it a bit of a wash over the skin tones just to bring out a bit of richness there. So that's the next step. So I've been working on the skin tones now for a while and I think that's good enough. I'm going to move back on to doing the jeans and put in a bit of shade onto them. So for that I'm going to use another Games Workshop colour, and it's this one, Drakenhof Nightshade. Okay, Okay, so it's looking really good on the jeans. We're now going to move over to Bob and give him some trousers as well, and for that I'm going to use this tan colour. Okay, while Bob's drying, we're back onto Jim. We're going to do some highlights on the jeans. So for that I'm back onto the blue colour just with some white mixed into it. Now we're going to do Bob's hair just with some black here. Okay, now for some shading on Bob's trousers, and I'm just going to go back to the smoky ink for that one. Okay, so next we're going to do Jim's shirt, and we're going to do this olive green colour. I'm going to do some shading on Jim's green shirt, and to do that I'm using some Games Workshop Nuln Oil. So for Bob's t-shirt we're actually going to do it grey like Mark Zuckerberg. So I've just mixed up some grey with some white and black. Okay, back with the Nuln Oil for the shading on the grey t-shirt. Okay, we're back with Jim now, and we're going to give him some white trainers. And with Bob, he's just going to get some black shoes. So we're very close to being done now, but one of the things I wanted to do was just define some of the shadows and the differences between the clothing with a little black line. To do that, I'm going to be using this game ink. Again, it's from Vallejo. So often in these kind of projects it's just knowing when to stop, and I think that's a good enough place where we're at just now with these two guys. So I'm going to call it a day on the painting. Next we're going to cut these off of the bases, and I'm actually going to put them onto these clear plastic bases here, which I've just cut out of a piece of plastic, and they're actually a size of a 10p piece. I'm just going to cut them out and glue them onto that. So here is our two guys. I think they're finished now, and I think they're looking fantastic. But I did have a bit of a disaster with Jim because I broke his leg when I was trying to cut him off the base there, and it just goes to show how brittle these models are. I guess that's just indicative of resin printers, but it's something to bear in mind if you're interested in buying these kind of 3D printed models. Anyway, that's Jim and Bob. I hope you enjoyed seeing them getting painted, and I'm sure you'll see these two guys on a video on this channel in the near future. I'll switch on the turntable and you can see these guys all the way around. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps this channel grow. In a moment, another video will appear on screen. You can watch that as well. But for now, that's it. See ya.